What's going on, Giants fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. And in this video, I want to recap the Giants' Week 8 loss in the MetLife Bowl to the New York Jets, a 13-10 low-scoring affair in overtime. Unfortunately, Big Blue drops through 2-6 on the 2023 season. But before I dive into this game and give my takeaways and initial thoughts, folks, if you like Giants content and like what you watch here, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Big Blue Avenue. Hit that thumbs up button, ring the bell for notifications, and you can subscribe to us also on Instagram and Twitter at Big Blue Avenue. So let me go over the X's and O's of this game, talk about what happened. We have more issues to talk about. Unfortunately, it's been a difficult season for the GMEN. So Giants led majority of this game, and I'll be straight. Sunday, I was not able to watch much of the game. I was in transit, but I did have it on the radio with Bob Pop and Carl Banks, and Giants led 10-7 with over a minute left in the game. I believe statistics had it at a 99.9% chance for the Giants to win, just a little over a minute left in the game. Graham Gano misses a 35-yard field goal, gave the Jets the ball with 24 seconds left. Then Zerline ties it after Zach Wilson has couple of great plays, one in particular to Garrett Wilson. Giants lose it in overtime following a punt and an Adoree Jackson pass interference call that set up the Jets in awesome field goal range. So a disgusting day for Big Blue, a game that they should have won, a game that pretty much any other team in the NFL this year would have won, except for the Giants. Now, let's talk about wrong for the Giants in this game. First off, -9 passing yards is not going to do it. Now, people will argue, well, it almost did it. They were running the football very well. It's the reason why the Giants lost. They were unable to throw the football. If you're able to have a competent quarterback to throw for 100, 150 yards, the Giants win this game. Tyrod Taylor, 4 for 7, 8 yards. He got sacked twice and unfortunately left the game with a rib injury. He was taken to the Hackensack Medical Center. Transported there, stayed overnight. He was released Monday afternoon around 3 o'clock p.m. So, unfortunately, he had to stay. He did have 5 rushes for 33 yards, and the injury happened on a rushing play due to the fact that Taylor likely had a punctured lung back in 2020, where Justin Herbert came in and replaced Tyrod Taylor when he was a Charger. That's probably why Taylor had to stay, because he has a history, and when you have a rib injury, it affects the lungs. So you want to make sure he's okay, right? He's considered week to week with the rib injury. So that left the Giants with Tommy DeVito, their third-string quarterback. DeVito went just 2 for 7, -1 yard, also sacked twice. He did have that rushing touchdown, which was impressive, but Brian Daboll clearly did not have enough faith in Tommy DeVito to throw the football much and lead the offense at all. This was a ground and pound game for Saquon Barkley. 36 rushes for 128 yards. 36 was the most amount of rushes in a single game for Saquon's career. He also had 3 catches, but for no yards. One thing I heard and noticed about Barkley after watching the highlights of this game, he made a critical mistake late in the fourth quarter where he slipped up on the last offensive drive in regulation. Giants could have gotten first down yardage or more, potentially 6. It was a shame, too, because the Giants outrushed the Jets really, really well, 203-58. You know, Breece Hall didn't get much cooking on the ground. He had 12 carries for 17 yards. But the fact that the Giants had no passing game, it was pretty much doomed when Darren Waller left the game with an injury. I believe it was a knee. He was listed questionable coming in. Not sure why he played, if he's nursing that issue. And then Tyrod Taylor as well. So after Waller and Taylor left the game, Barkley was the offense. I mean, you have a practice squad quarterback out there and a bunch of young receivers and Hyatt, Wandale. So, yeah, it was unfortunate, but I'll tell you, the defense almost won this team the game. They really did, and I want to spend a majority of the time on the defense here. We'll throw some positives sandwiched in between some negative for the offense and the special teams. But Kayvon Thibodeau, a guy who many doubted, had their questions about, knocks down a 3-sack performance, now 8.5 sacks on the season for KT. He had 9 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 3 QB hits, and 1 forced fumble. 91.0 PFF grade. He's got more pressure guys in a draft class like Aiden Hutchinson, Trayvon Walker, just to name a few. Right now, he's been the best edge rusher out of his draft class, so that's very promising to see. Yeah, DeVito is great. He had some great moves on the right tackle. Max Mitchell was very excited to see his performance. Another guy who stuck out was Dexter Lawrence, 95 Pro Football Focus grade, 1 sack, 5 quarterback hits, 15 pressures from the defensive tackle position, tied second most by any interior D lineman in the PFF era. He leads all DTs for a combined 44 sacks, QB hits, and pressures this season. So that's 3 statistics sandwiched all together. Probably could have worded that a little better. He doesn't have 44 sacks. No one ever has in a season. But between sacks, QB hits, and pressures, he has 44 combined. Leads his also first in pass rush win rate in the entire NFL at his position for DTs who have at least 100 pass rush snaps, 22.5% pass rush win rate, and that's rated on a scale of 94 defensive tackles. So Dexter Lawrence earned his big payday this offseason. We've had guests come on our shows and talk about Dexter being Joe Shane's best move and extension thus far, and they're right. Dexter Lawrence is the best player on this football team right now, this season especially. You could argue last season as well, even though a lot of people would have said Andrew Thomas, but yeah, Dexter Lawrence is the best player on this football team this season. Yeah, as I mentioned too, Breece Hall, outside of that 150-yard touchdown reception, which, again, Giants missed a lot of tackles, Pinnock, Flott, but Dexter Lawrence was always getting at Zach Wilson's face the entire game. Cordell Flott has really come on lately. I know he had a bad play or two in the game, but 2 passes defended, great third down pass breakup on Zach Wilson. He's really come on nicely. Zach Wilson was sacked 4 times in this game and lost 2 fumbles. He lost a fumble early, too. I think Jahad Ward recovered a fumble on the Kayvon strip sack. However, Giants only got 3 from that turnover. So, and another thing, too, the reason why Zach Wilson lost 2 fumbles, the Jets were without their starting center, Connor McGovern. That's why Dexter Lawrence was eating through the trenches. And I will say that Garrett Wilson versus Deontay Banks matchup was very exciting. Wilson did have 7 catches for 100 yards. A lot of those yards did come in terms of yak, yards after the catch, with poor missed tackling. This stat to me is just astonishing. Defense has played so well. They've allowed just 11.3 points per game over the past 3 games. Giants have played the Bills. Last week they played the Commanders. This week they played Jets. They have 1 win to show for it. The Giants should have won the last 3 weeks. If the Giants win the last 3 weeks, they're 4-4. They're 4-4. It's a real shame. It's a real shame that things have gone this way. The close games the Giants were winning last season by 1 possession, whether it be a field goal, 4 points, 6 points, touchdown, they're losing those games this year. And a big reason why they're losing these games is because of their special teams unit. Graham Gano said in his postgame presser, no excuses. We know he's hurt. He needs surgery at the end of the season. 1 for 3 for field goals, unacceptable. He has not been good kicking field goals this season. That last field goal in the 4th quarter, DJ Davidson allowed Will McDonald to jump over the line and get in the face of Gano. Howard Cross mentioned on the sideline reporting for the radio cast, if Gano kicks that down middle, his block potentially returned back for a touchdown. So there wasn't much Gano could do on that 35-yard field goal. The protection was bad, ladies and gentlemen. But that's not an excuse for Gano's performance. He also missed a 47-yarder earlier. Jamie Gillen was very active in this game. He punted for 550 yards on 13 punts. This was a nasty game. A lot of punting, bad weather. I will say Gunnar Olszewski wasn't bad. 6 punt returns for 56 yards. I believe he did fumble at one point or muffed one. But, again, he was solid back there for the most part. Um, and you want to talk about X's and O's. The Jets played a horrendous game themselves. The Jets didn't deserve to win. This was the Giants' game to take. They were ahead after they scored the DeVito touchdown early in the second half, but they couldn't hold on to the lead. Jets had 9 penalties, 2 turnovers, and only 25 minutes in the time of Giants had 0 turnovers, held the ball for 38 minutes, and they lost. How did they lose? Because they're the Giants. That's why. Bad discipline, stupid penalties, poor coaching decisions, no quarterback play, poor blocking, special teams is atrocious. Bad. Really, really bad. This season is done. They're 2-6. I still want to win football games, of course, but decisions are going to have to be made. And it is very unfortunate. However, there is a silver lining. Daniel Jones has been cleared for contact, likely to start Week 9 at Las Vegas when the Giants take on the Raiders, who just lost on Monday Night Football to the Detroit Lions. Now, I do want to say this. I'm not looking in too much to Jones got cleared Sunday morning. Why couldn't he be the number 2 quarterback? The Giants ruled Daniel Jones out on Friday. It doesn't matter what the doctor says. It was too short of a turnaround. He plays Week 9. That's it. End of story. I feel like some content creators are going out there and saying, like, hey, like, maybe they could have done this. And while they might be onto something there, I think it's important to realize, too, without putting anybody in a bad light, that the Giants need to play this safe. They're not going anywhere this season. There's rumors that this Daniel Jones injury could be a lot more serious than what's being given out. Not just season, possibly career. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Giants, with the trade deadline approaching, unfortunately, they traded away one of their team captains, one of their best defensive players for the last several years. Defensive lineman Leonard Williams was dealt to the Seattle Seahawks for a 2024 second-round pick. Good Lord, I don't know how Shane does this. And a 2025 fifth-round pick. So we knew Leonard Williams was on an expiring contract with a 3-year, $63 million extension. In the 2021 offseason, huge overpay by Dave Gettleman at the time. This was the final year of that 3-year deal. No way the Giants are bringing him back after this season, especially with the way the team was trending. New GM, new head coach. They're not new anymore, but they're new as far as a lot of these guys were inherited on this team. So Leonard Williams is going to go. It's either do this and get 2 draft picks or get nothing and just let him walk. So this is a genius move by Joe Shane. I don't know how he stirred up a second-round pick from Seattle. I don't know how he poked that out, but good job. I mean, we're talking about a team 4 years ago that traded for Leonard Williams when they had a similar record. They were well below 500. The Giants were still trying to compete. Dave Gettleman gives up draft capital for Leonard Williams on a contract a year. I love Leonard Williams, but at that didn't make sense. Contract didn't make sense. But I love the player, Leonard Williams. Just on the business side of things, Leonard Williams probably should have never been a Giant if there was any type of competency in the front office. And that's no knock to Leonard Williams. It's just the fact that he's a really, really good player that the Giants were in no position to get back in 2019. However, I was happy that he was here for as long as he did. He played 61 games with the Giants. Big Cat had 22.5 sacks, including that phenomenal 2020 double-digit sack season that led to his contract extension. And in 8 games this year, he posted just 21 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 5 quarterback hits. A lot of people argue he's opened up a lot of pass rushing lanes for Dexter Lawrence up the middle, not allowing teams to double Dexter Lawrence as much as they'd like. But Leonard Williams is a class act. He joins former Giant Julian Love out in Seattle, a team that's in contention. Very, very happy for him. He also left a quote saying, "It's been an honor to be a part of the Giants organization. It stands for, this place will always have a special place in my heart. Thank you to all coaches, staff, teammates, and fans that have supported me throughout my career here. New York, it's been real. Now it's time to continue my career back in the West Coast. Seattle, here we come. Go Hawks. So what he means by this, well, he spent 3.5 years with the Jets. Then he came to the Giants. He spent just about 4 years here. And now he is going back home. He played his college ball at USC. So he's going to a contending team. Leonard Williams had never played in a playoff game up until last season. I was happy his first playoff football came with us, with Big Blue. And I wish him nothing but the best. He was a great leader, great football player, and a great person as well. Other news, some transactions. The Giants released wide receiver Gunnar Olszewski on Monday. However, expect him to be re-signed on the practice squad and elevated next week. The Giants are out of elevations for Tommy DeVito, who's been elevated the last 3 weeks. Daniel Jones has missed the last 3 games. So now the Giants have to carry third quarterback on their 53-man, although DeVito does not count against the 53-man with the new rule in place this season. Giants also signed free agent Stantley Thomas Oliver to the practice squad, 25-year-old 7th-round pick by the Panthers in 2020. Giants trying to juice up some special teams, likely due to the fact that Brightwell is headed to injured reserve. 25 games played for the Panthers from 2020 to 2022. He's a practice squad body with potential. That's what I'll say about him. But that's it from me about my recap and my key takeaways. I mean, the Giants season is a wash unless anything miraculous happens at this point. I'm glad Daniel Jones has been cleared for contact. I'm sad to see Leonard Williams go. I don't think this is the only move that the Giants make. I think Adoree Jackson might be on the bubble here as well before for him. But we'll have to see what happens. The young players on this roster are playing well, but the lack of continuity on the offensive line, the health at the quarterback position, and the horrendous special teams play have really hindered this team's success this season, on top of some poor coaching decisions and management decisions. So with that being said, the Giants move on to Week 9. Folks, quick reminder to support our sponsor, BetUS. If you like Giants football content, you can bet on the New York Giants on our sports betting app, BetUS. You can sign up with our promo code below at JOIN125. Get a 125% sign-up bonus where you can bet on the go, anywhere, anytime. That's BetUS, America's #1 favorite sports book where the game begins. And friendly neighborhood reminder to check us out on all of our social media platforms. Folks, without further ado, at 2-6, we're still going to say it. Let's go Big